Step back into a time when the fate of a nation hung in the balance, where the dense forests of the American frontier echoed with the clash of cultures and the roar of battle. The Cherokee-American Wars, often overshadowed by the larger conflicts of their time, were a pivotal chapter in the struggle for control over the rich lands of the southeastern United States. In this video, we'll uncover the gripping story of how the Cherokee Nation, led by the fearless Dragging Canoe, stood against the tide of American expansion. Join us as we explore the battles, alliances, and betrayals that shaped the future of a nation. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss a single detail. The Cherokee-American Wars, often overshadowed by the larger American Revolutionary War, were a series of fierce and unrelenting conflicts that played a crucial role in the early history of the United States. These wars, also known as the Chickamauga Wars, spanned from 1776 to 1794 and were marked by a combination of raids, ambushes, and significant battles between the Cherokee Nation and American settlers. At the heart of these wars was a struggle for land, sovereignty, and survival, as the Cherokee fought to defend their territory against the relentless expansion of American settlers. The roots of this conflict can be traced back to the early 18th century when European colonists began encroaching on Cherokee lands. The Cherokee, who had long inhabited the southeastern United States, were initially able to maintain a degree of autonomy by negotiating treaties with the British Crown. However, as the American colonies grew and expanded westward, tensions between the Cherokee and settlers escalated, leading to a series of violent confrontations. By the time the Revolutionary War began, the Cherokee found themselves caught between two warring factions. On one side were the British, who had historically been allies of the Cherokee, and on the other were the American colonists, who were increasingly encroaching on Cherokee lands. The Cherokee, under the leadership of Dragging Canoe, chose to side with the British, hoping that a British victory would secure their land and way of life. Dragging Canoe, a prominent Cherokee leader, emerged as one of the most formidable opponents of American expansion. Known for his fierce determination and strategic acumen, Dragging Canoe became a central figure in the Cherokee-American Wars. He believed that the only way to protect the Cherokee Nation was through armed resistance, and he quickly became the driving force behind the Cherokee's military efforts. In 1776, as the Revolutionary War raged across the American colonies, Dragging Canoe led a series of attacks on frontier settlements in the Washington District, located in what is now East Tennessee. These attacks, which targeted settlements along the Watauga, Holston, Nolichucky, and Doe Rivers, marked the beginning of a protracted and brutal conflict between the Cherokee and American settlers. Dragging Canoe's resistance was not limited to these initial attacks. He and his followers, who became known as the Chickamauga Cherokee, continued to wage war against the American settlers long after the Revolutionary War had ended. The Chickamauga Cherokee, named after the towns they established along the Chickamauga Creek, were relentless in their efforts to push back the American frontier. They carried out numerous raids and ambushes, targeting settlements across the Upper South and beyond. The Cherokee-American Wars can be divided into two distinct phases. The first phase, from 1776 to 1783, coincided with the American Revolutionary War. During this period, the Cherokee fought as allies of the British, hoping that a British victory would protect their lands from American encroachment. The Cherokee War of 1776, which engulfed much of the Cherokee Nation, was a significant conflict during this phase. However, as the war dragged on, the Cherokee were gradually forced to retreat from their lands. By the end of 1776, Dragging Canoe and his followers had migrated to the Chickamauga towns, where they continued their resistance. These militant Cherokee, who became known as the Chickamauga Cherokee, were determined to continue the fight against American settlers. Their resistance marked the beginning of the second phase of the Cherokee-American Wars, which lasted from 1783 to 1794. During the second phase, the Chickamauga Cherokee acted as proxies for the Viceroyalty of New Spain. This alliance was born out of a shared interest in opposing American expansion. As the United States emerged as a new nation, the Chickamauga Cherokee and other Native American groups saw their lands increasingly threatened by American settlers. The Chickamauga Cherokee established new settlements in the Piedmont region, which became known as the Five Lower Towns. These towns served as the base for their continued resistance against the United States. The Cherokee-American Wars were not an isolated conflict. They were part of a larger struggle between Native American tribes and the expanding United States. During this period, many Native American tribes formed alliances to resist American encroachment on their lands. One of the most significant of these alliances was the Western Confederacy, organized by Mohawk leader Joseph Brant in 1786. The Western Confederacy was a coalition of Native American tribes united in their opposition to American settlement in the Ohio Country. The Lower Cherokee, who were closely aligned with the Chickamauga Cherokee, were founding members of this confederacy. They played a crucial role in the Northwest Indian War, a conflict that emerged from this resistance. The Northwest Indian War was a bitter and brutal conflict, marked by a series of battles between the Western Confederacy and American forces. The war ended in 1795 with the Treaty of Greenville, which forced the Confederacy to cede large portions of their territory to the United States. The treaty marked a significant shift in the balance of power in the region and paved the way for further American expansion. The Cherokee-American Wars finally came to an end in November 1794 with the signing of the Treaty of Tellico Blockhouse. This treaty, which was signed by representatives of the United States and the Chickamauga Cherokee, brought an end to nearly 2 decades of conflict. Under the terms of the treaty, the Chickamauga Cherokee agreed to cease their hostilities and to accept the authority of the United States. The signing of the Treaty of Tellico Blockhouse marked the beginning of a new era for the Cherokee Nation. With the end of the wars, the Cherokee were forced to come to terms with the reality of American expansion. The lands that had once been theirs were now being settled by American pioneers, and the Cherokee Nation was increasingly confined to smaller and smaller territories. The aftermath of the Cherokee-American Wars also had broader implications for Native American tribes across the United States. The conclusion of the wars enabled the settlement of what had been designated as Indian Territory by the Royal Proclamation of 1763. This opened up vast tracts of land for American settlement, leading to the establishment of the first Trans-Appalachian states, Kentucky in 1792 and Ohio in 1803. The Cherokee-American Wars left a lasting legacy on the history of the United States. These wars were not just a series of battles. They were a struggle for survival and sovereignty in the face of overwhelming odds. The Cherokee, led by figures like Dragging Canoe, fought with a determination and resilience that continues to inspire to this day. The wars also serve as a poignant reminder of the complex and often tragic history of America's westward expansion. The displacement of Native American peoples from their ancestral lands is a dark chapter in American history, and the Cherokee-American Wars are a key part of that story. The wars highlighted the deep divisions between Native American tribes and the emerging United States, divisions that would continue to shape the history of the country for decades to come. Today, the legacy of the Cherokee-American Wars can still be felt in the lands where these conflicts took place. The history of these wars is preserved in the names of rivers, towns, and landmarks across the southeastern United States. It is also remembered in the stories and traditions of the Cherokee Nation, which continues to honor the memory of those who fought to protect their land and way of life. As we reflect on the Cherokee-American Wars, it is important to recognize the courage and resilience of the Cherokee people. Their struggle is a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity, and their legacy continues to be a vital part of the history of the United States. The echoes of the Cherokee-American Wars still resonate today, reminding us of the resilience and determination of the Cherokee people. As we look back on this tumultuous period, it's clear that the struggles and sacrifices made during these wars have left an indelible mark on American history. If you found this journey through the past as captivating as we did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. By joining our community, you'll ensure you never miss out on the fascinating stories and hidden histories that continue to shape our world. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.